Good morning, everybody. My name's John Wright, and I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. I come from the Holy Father. There's just no doubt about it. I got a scar underneath my ribs. I got scars on the top of my feet located in places that the Lord would have got shish kebab. You know, the Lord, Yahshua, that got crucified on the cross. By the way, his name wasn't Jesus, and subtitles are not allowed. Do you understand that? There is no other name than Yahshua. Any other names are nothing but fake. They're nothing but a great deception and a great deceit. And I'll tell you this morning, right now, I think I felt I had amazing things happen to me with a boy, a young man, walked up to me on Memorial Day at 7 p.m. that ultimately identified himself as Matthew Thomas. That's the same name as Matthew Thomas, right? You know, I've gone through a whole bunch of things where, you know, this boy isn't with me anymore. He will never be with me again. And, you know, this has everything to do with the satanic activities at 10077th Street in Camas, Washington. And, you know, I've told people in the past, things are deadly with me. Things are literally deadly with me. You don't want to piss me off because karma can come back to get you because Satan and Eve comes out when I'm asleep. Matter of fact, I was up at Beacon Rock. I'm back here. I'm at the Roma. I had to have my vehicle towed back down here. You know what? I was happy to pay for the towing to get it down here. And I'm happy to have it over there and have Alex fixing it because it's going to be back in the service today. Just that quick. And, by the way, I pay my bills exactly when I say they will, and it's like shish kebab. I do it like Terry Lance Shortridge. Lance, I like that name, Lance. Touche. Bam. So anyway, I like to annihilate my bills and stuff. And why? Because it takes all the pressures off of your life. If you do the right thing first, the rest of the things will just fall into place and they'll be correct instead of doing everything wrong. You know what the addictive personality is? Hey, drugs never let me down, so I do drugs. Everyone else in the world let me down, but drugs don't let me down. So I'm getting something positive out of it, and I feel the ability that it makes me invincible compared to everything else that's let me down. And that's part of the key to the addictive personality. And by the way, when bad things happen to you, instead of going off the other way, hey, I had something terrible happen to me. You know what I did? I called up a tow truck, and I had the tow truck come. You know what else I did? I had Alex fix my vehicle. Yesterday, when I got there, and the guy seen that I had the tow truck in, and I was wearing my yellow vest because I was directing traffic, where this motorhome got stuck up there by Beacon Rock, it shut off doing like 50 miles an hour, coming down a hill, you know, and it loses it. And oh, good thing we have Alex's great brakes. And I told Alex about hugging it down this corner, and you should have been there, Alex. You know, hey, I'm a truck driver. I can handle things. A motorhome out of control. What? We have power assist brakes? Well, John will get this goddamn thing stopped too. And I did get it stopped. I had it in a place where I could park it. It wasn't the safest place. It was a little tight, and yeah, I did have to put on my vest and go out and assist these men in getting this vehicle off the road. It was in a hairy situation, but it always is with John T. Wright, a hairy situation, where it's the hairiest pussy in town, girls, or just the hairiest situation you ever seen. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, I'm right here, and the motorhome's getting fixed and stuff, you know, and I thought, You know, I think there's a reason, well, there was a reason why that motorhome broke down. And I'm going to tell you what, when God Almighty has you do something, you just obey. He is not going to tell you to damage or destroy something without a good goddamn reason. I want you to do this job. Because, you know, I'll just tell you the truth. I get this, you know, and sometimes it's Satan and sometimes it's Eve, and I gotta, like when Moses slammed that rock with his stick and he hit it too hard, you know, God made those people wander in the desert for an extra 40 fucking years. I figured it out. They put me through 40 years of hell up to 2014, I believe. I was counting with them. And I thought, 40 fucking years this has been going on. And I'll tell you, it has everything to do with biblical, everything to do with Adam and Eve, and etc. I just love to tell everyone the truth. You know, I'm going to go back to working out today. I've got my day planned. I'm going to go and pull out of the Roma. I'm going to pull my stuff out of the Roma here, put in my car. I'm going to go hiking right here locally for the day. Pick up my motorhome hopefully later this afternoon. That's my plan. Or I'm coming back staying at the Roma again tonight. It's just no big deal on that. And let's see what else is going on. I met that man named Matthew Thomas right on. Or Matthew Thomas, I don't know what his last name was, we didn't go into that. But I think he's going to, he said he was going to look me up, and I'll tell you, Matthew Thomas, that I found that very interesting, and God does that. I've got quite a few stories that are, well, if you thought that one was something, and it was, I've got bigger stories than that, and I'll tell you, they'll just jerk your chain. My chain has been jerked by the Holy Father and Satan and Eve. And maybe your chain has been jerked by Satan and Eve too, to the extent that, hey, Satan and Eve now is in hell. And you know, they're dependent on me to turn this around. And by the way, it will turn around because it's the Holy Father's will that it does. It's the Holy Father will that this all came to pass, and I'm here before your eyes. Now, I will tell you about this cup of coffee here. This is not an Arco cup of coffee again, and this is the second time this has happened to me. This Susan over at Arco, this is not an Arco cup, and I like Arco coffee, by the way. I went over to Jimbo's and I told them that Susan over here at 4:20 this morning, I went over there about 4:20 this morning to get coffee. I get up at 4:20 in the morning. I party in the morning. Everybody knows it. I don't want to be in a bad fucking mood. And this bitch Susan at Arco has put me in a bad fucking mood this morning. So I went over to Jimbo's and I told him, you know, the same guy, he served me the last time I came in there, and I complained about the coffee then, what happened. And I did go back in and talk to the manager about what happened over there at Arco. Matter of fact, this is what happened. When I came back, the bookkeeper came to Arco, and a manager woman that works there, her and her husband, Vicky works there. Her husband just comes and stays there with her. She's an elderly woman. Vicky, she's a rock. She's a tough fish. I like her. I like Vicky. I'll go catch you a fish, Vicky. You know, Vicky likes sturgeon, she told me. And Vicky, if I catch a fish like I told you the other day, I'm going to call it Vicky, and I'm going to bring it home to you. You know, I'll give her half of the fillet. I'll give her a half a fillet of the sturgeon, and I'll take the other half, or a little less. I just need a piece of it. I'll be happy. I'd rather give a fish away than eat a fish. You know, sometimes it's just fun to give something away like that. Hey, I caught a fish. I'll give you one, you know. So anyway, this bitch Susan got me in a bad mood. And I told her, I said, I'm coming in talking to your manager. First she started, I'm calling the police. Oh, well, you call the police because she started this last time. You call the police just like Eric did this whole goddamn thing with the Roma bullshit. I said, well, you go ahead and call the police and I'm waiting right here for them. I was outside and she wouldn't even call the fucking police after I set my coffee on the counter in there after she was goddamn rude to me. That's uncalled for. I went down to Jimbo's and I told them the situation, and he told me, I know the owner of that. You know, he's a foreigner. He's a really nice guy. I know, I've met him before. I gave him one of my little Hot Wheels cars that says John T. Wright on it. He'll remember me. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, if I get bad service and I say something, they lose business. I said, this Susan is about ready to run off business from Arco. And I explained that to him. I said, I'm nice to everybody. I come over there and they fill up my gas and stuff for my motorhome. And I give them a tip over there at Jimbo's at the Chevron station over there. I'm serious. I don't treat anybody bad. Why? Because I do not want to be treated bad in the process. Now, Susan, this morning, I said 7 o'clock, I'm coming in here, I'm talking to your manager. 7 o'clock this morning, I'm coming over here, I'm talking to your manager, Susan. Susan's claiming that she's going to call the cops. She's calling the cops. When I come in there, I said, have you called the cops yet? Or have you called the cops? And she says, I'm talking to my manager, you know, like that. I said, and she says, here, you want to talk to my manager? Like it's a threat. And I said, yeah, I want to talk to your goddamn manager right fucking now. And when I told that guy at Jimbo's that, he just fucking laughed because, you know, I'm calling the bitch on it. She pulls the phone back. She won't let me talk to her. She's talking to her friend or something. You know, she's not talking to her manager at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. And she sure the fuck is not calling the law officers to come there over a fucking false fucking thing. Susan's calling the fucking fire alarm. Matter of fact, her license plate is 1100, 11 o'clock. 11 like a cop. A cop is an 11. Okay? So anyway, we've got a cop calling Susan, a threatening cop calling Susan that doesn't call the cops, that harasses good people at Arco. Well, Susan, I told her this morning, Susan, you're going to lose your job over this. You don't treat your customers bad. Matter of fact, I even apologized slightly when I come in there this morning. I said, Susan, if I said something to you that got you off the other morning, all of a sudden she just goddamn goes off on me. And she said, fuck. You know, I said sorry, and she said, fuck. And then she says, yeah, I'm saying something bad when she was saying something bad. Well, that will come to an end today because that's a Pakistani that owns that, and that guy at Jimbo's knows him, like he acts like they're friends, and they may very well be friends because they're both foreigners. So I just sunk Susan's ship this morning, and that guy, when the Pakistani contacts that guy at 4:20 in the morning and pulls those things off there, which I told them to do today, because Susan's a cop caller, she's not calling the cops, I'm not calling the cops to get involved, but Susan will lose her fucking job. Susan will be reprimanded. Susan will have to lose her position. Just because she works there doesn't mean that she has to treat people bad. She's got the mentality that she's not going to get paid any more for if there's customer there or not. I'm nice to everybody. Everybody smiles and stuff around me. And she's a miserable little bitch. As a matter of fact, I said she's a bitch in the store to a customer when she was complaining. A man said, she's in the store complaining to somebody on the phone saying something. And I said, and in front of you and complaining to me. And I said, well, she would do that because she's playing this card. You don't fucking do this. You pull the fucking tapes. The first thing I did was apologize to her for a reason. Really, I didn't have to, because why? I'm an abused person. the first thing I'll do is I may apologize, and then the bitch attacks again, and that's exactly what they goddamn do. Just like little red cars like to push the envelope and they won't fucking stop. By the way, they're on my fucking shit list. Now they're on Eve's and Satan's shit list. So if you're a little red bitch in a little red fucking car, you're on my fucking list. You're on Satan's and Eve's. And if you get in a fucking car wreck and get put out of commission, you goddamn done it, because you just been served up like this fucking cup of coffee that I got from Jimbo's today. I should have been buying it from Arco. You know what? Jimbo's is a little bit cheaper on the coffee. I might have to go over there if it's by the cup. But I shouldn't have to go out of my goddamn way to buy a fucking cup of coffee in Camas or Washougal. I shouldn't have to be ripped off at Starbucks, and Starbucks gets no more business from me and my friends. Friends of D.B. Cooper's son does not go to Starbucks down there by the port. The Starbucks at Safeways, hey, it's a wonderful place to be at Safeways. You know why? You may pay a little higher price at Safeways. You're getting great quality food, great quality service, great quality people. And if there's a problem, they will run off the riffraff. Where down at Grocery Outlet, they will not clean up the riffraff. As a matter of fact, there's people that will walk inside the dollar store with a dog. People should not be allowed to walk in the stores with a dog. And I asked the woman, I said, since when is this allowed? Well, they'll say it's, for a CNI dog or something like that. This is bullshit. I know this guy. He works here at the Roma. He does not need to have a dog inside that goddamn store. I find that offensive. I also find that a threat. I don't like dogs. I've been threatened with fucking dogs. Just telling you the truth. Camas, Washougal, Camas. I'm not a cop caller, but everybody in Camas and Washougal knows it's not appropriate to have your fucking car parked outside of a grocery store with a barking fucking dog in it. It is not appropriate to have goddamn Susan over there in Arco barking from inside the store. She's going to call a cop when she's never going to call a cop. And she's the fucking problem, not the fucking solution. Matter of fact, I have a new replacement for Susan already. Andrew needs a job, and Andrew is gold. Andrew's a great worker. You know what his job wanted? He wanted to do work for Shell Station. Too bad Shell over there in Camas sold to an Arab company. Their family took over the business, and Andrew lost the job. And Andrew was, I think, the manager of the Shell Station over there. He worked at Grocery Outlet, perfect person. When I had problem with people, he did too. He walked out of Grocery Outlet, and I did too. Andrew and John both walked out of Grocery Outlet simultaneously because of people like Tracy. That's right there. It was the fucking management inside that fucking business, and they did it to me. And Susan's doing it there, and they've done that over at Weimar, and they've done that over at the knitting mill. And Linda over there at the other Chevron, she's out of there now. I helped me and Linda's had amends. I gave her a car. I'm nice to everybody. And Linda was a complete asshole and a bitch to me. And she would sit down and agree with me that she was an asshole and a bitch. But you know what? When Linda has had all this panhandling stuff done to her over and over inside that Chevron, in a way, I don't really blame her, but in a way, she was burned out and she needed to retire. So, Linda, I hope you like that car. You know what? You're not no beauty pageant, but I thought you cleaned up very well, Linda. And I seen you at the Chinese restaurant with the man that you helped purchase glasses for. I seen the whole situation. I could have ruined Linda's Hey, oh yeah, but I wouldn't do that. But I will go out of my way to ruin Susan's job because I told her this morning I'm coming back at 7 o'clock this morning to talk to her managers over this goddamn coffee shit. Hey, I pay my tips, I do my thing, and I'm nice to everybody. But Susan over there is not nice to me. And Susan knows Susan Donahoe, I'm pretty sure, and that toothless bitch also. So you know what? Fuck them. I'm the customer, and the customer's always right until proven wrong. And you can't prove me wrong, any of you, because I've been ethically correct. And I'll talk to you later. And my name's John T. Wright, and you have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye.